Welcome to this episode of Sunny Silver Linings. Sunny's guest today is Kam Kaila, president of IT by Design, but more importantly, Sunny's partner in crime, love, and life. Sunny and Kam chat about why they launched the Build It initiative, its purpose, and how the channel can benefit from the learning platform. They chat about July's upcoming Build It Live event and what MSPs will gain by joining, listening, and learning from our wonderful educators. And now, your host, the founder and CEO of IT by Design, Mr. Sunny Kaila. Over to you, Sunny.
I'm super excited today because I have a very special guest joining me today, and that's my wife, Kam Kaila, my love, my life, my everything. Kam, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Sunster. I'm so excited to be here. It's my first time on the show.
I was thinking about bringing more women leaders to my podcast, and I'm more intentional about that this year. And I'm like, the right starting point should start at home. I need to bring Kam on my podcast and share her journey, her life journey, her leadership journey, and her overall experience with our next generation. And I want to start with your life journey. Can you please share your life and leadership journey with our viewers?
Sure. So obviously, many people probably know that I'm Canadian, born and raised. You can probably hear it in the way that I say A. But I was born in Canada, not aging myself or telling anybody the year, Sunster. But I grew up in a small town called Surrey. I went to school at UBC, where I did, I majored in English and history and geography. Those were the topics that excited me. I'm a big history buff. And then when I was 20, I met a boy, and Sunny and you and I, we got together. And when I was 21, I graduated and I made the move from Vancouver to New Jersey. But you'll never take the Canucks out of the girl. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter where I live. I'm still a go Canucks go type of person. So we made the move to Jersey. And I got my master's degree in history. We taught for a couple of years, and then joined you here at ITBD back in 2005. Little did we know that I'd be good at sales. When we started, it was a wonderful reprieve from teaching after we'd had 2 babies, and we thought it was going to be taking it slow, but little did we know that it would accelerate our journey. IT by Design has definitely been one of our children over the years. We've worked hard at it. I've loved teaching, and I think it's that teaching background of teaching at Rutgers and other places while I was a teacher that has really prompted me to focus more on Build It. It's that passion, going back to your roots that I've loved. And so it's, that's the journey to here. And I've been with ITBD and you, and we've been making this journey ever since.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And we just celebrated our 23 years.
Yes, 23 years. So we have 3 babies, real babies, and well, technically we have 5. We have 3 children and 2 fur babies. So yes, we have a full house, Sunster.
So we made it for 23 years working together.
Yes, and that I know for a lot of MSPs is there's a lot of husband and wife couples out there that are working together in the MSP, and I'm proud that we've made it. We haven't killed each other yet.
When I started IT by Design in 2003, I didn't know the overall. I mean, you start something, but you don't know still as a startup. As a kind of really you're bootstrapping it, and you don't know where you're going, right? What we know today, at that time, that was not, that experience. And And you joining IT by Design, what we always talk about is 1 and 1 became 11. It did not mean 2, it was 11. Our growth accelerated from that point on, right? Because we combined our unique abilities, and where you are a great communicator and someone who can go out there and represent well. And you are someone who can kind of really from the growth perspective, the revenue perspective, and you kind of really joined and then took ownership on our sales side. And with my technology background and being that as my unique ability, we combined those abilities together. But my message here to our viewers and our next generation is, you got to be able to, like, when you are a good team at home, you can create so much value for your family. And when you have that teamwork, you take that teamwork that you're doing at home, if it kind of can create some value for someone as a profession, there is, so we have experienced that. And what we have done is combining those capabilities together, those unique abilities, and created some value together that we could not create by just, with one person. Or, we joining forces helped us accelerate our growth. And
Teamwork.
yeah, so it's about the teamwork. And so my next question to you, when we joined our forces together in 2005, and when I reflect on ITBD journey and our journey overall, I know this was not possible without us combining our unique abilities. And it's really important for us to understand, and overall for kind of, there are a lot of couples where they're working together, or our future generation, they will have these possibilities where they may not be sure that should they work together, should they not work together, is it going to be a problem, or is it going to be more of a benefit, or it's going to be an asset or liability. And what I want to share personally is that being able to work together, and of course there are struggles, of course there, no matter which partner you choose in business, there are always going to be overall teamwork obstacles that you face. And if you have that strong core and you have that open mind to listen to each other and work and be kind of flexible and believe in combining those capabilities together, that best idea wins, not my idea wins, then you can create something for the world that you will not be able to create by just yourself. So it's okay to explore the idea of working together as couples, because for us, it worked. It served us well. We are where we are today. Our future is a lot bigger together than just by ourselves.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things that we've done, and there's been days where it's been tough, so we're being very, very honest. There have been days where I'm like, where's the shovel? But I think the importance is that we respect what each of us does well. If I know the marketing perspective or the sales perspective, you allow me to win that battle. If it's something that has to do with the business or more strategic or growth oriented, I'm gonna say, okay, Sunster, right? And where do you want to go? And how are we going to do this? I think it's understanding the balance that each of us brings. It's not always easy, but there's so much trust and faith. And I think once couples realize that you're both working in it for the greater good, it's not a battle that who's the winner. Because as you said on our anniversary, Sunster,
I was about to share that. I'm like, on anniversary, that was a great learning. And so, yeah, I would like you to share that, please.
as you stated, Sunster, when you're winning, an argument, you're actually losing an argument. Because at the end of the day, it's your heart, right? It's your heart, it's your motivation, it's what makes you happy, and respecting each other and appreciating each other. I think it's taken us years to understand and value, and to get to where we are today. There, you do need some distance. You can't. Somebody's got to be the ultimate authority and make the decision, right? But as long as there is that mutual respect and the conversation and the collaboration, I think that's something where we've gotten better at it over the years. I'm sure our team will attest to that, us getting better at it. Knowing each other's days, knowing when something's a trigger topic for each other, and how do we communicate to each other. Even, if we should talk about that collaborative way training, right? How are we, what's valuable to me versus what's valuable to you? And I think we've learned a lot of those learning lessons, and a lot of those trainings that we've taken over these years have helped us become a better couple, and better business partners. But it's really more so they've impacted our life and how we interact with each other, but also our children. And so, when you talk about it's how you learn, even the learnings at work can be applied to your personal home. And so, the collaboration is important, but respecting and appreciating each other is just as important, and valuing the other's contributions.
Yeah.
I
And
think
just
that's
to give that little bit of context of what you said earlier. So we were celebrating our 23rd anniversary.
yes.
And some of our friends, they asked me, lesson learned, the the greatest lesson learned in 23 years. And I said, I finally realized that in 23 years that when I am winning an argument at home, actually I'm losing.
Yeah.
And,
And I made you share that with everybody.
it was like so it was a get together. And so one of my friend's wife, she was listening to it. She let me grab my husband as well. Sunny, can you share this with him as well? It was so funny. But it's true. I think it's from the love and respect that Kam, you were talking about. At the end of the day, it's not about winning and losing. It's about really that respect, that relationship. And so if I'm happy at home, then I will be happy at work as well. So happy home, happy work, happy wife, happy life, and all those mantras, you finally see more that importance, that overall you see at a deeper level, you experience it at a deeper level, that at the end of the day, it's experience that we're giving to each other as human beings, as husband and wife. And our teamwork is not only important for our family, but for like 600 plus families that are associated with IT by Design. We are responsible for their future as well. So our state of mind, our maturity, what we do, how we lead, behaviors that we model, is important for not only our kids and family around us, it's at work, and people kind of, they model those behaviors, the way we lead. So this is a really nice segue, Kam, to our culture. I want your viewpoint on how would you describe ITBD culture?
I know I'm not supposed to say it, but I feel like it's a family. There's such a family dynamic when you love each other, you appreciate each other, you push each other. Sometimes you fight. We're not perfect, and nobody is. But it's having how you have that conversation, and at the end of the day, you still come back to that dinner table, and you have dinner together every night, and you talk about what you learned and what happened in your day. That's how I feel our culture is. I would love for every team member, when we bring them on board, that they're here for life. And I never want them to leave, because they're part of our family. And so that's personally how I see, if something happens to a team member, it happened to us. And we are worrying about them. We are concerned about them. It's one of those reasons why, even when COVID hit, we were, we kept our team together throughout the entire burden when others were unable to. But we focused, we prioritized, we cut budgets, we looked where we could save the money so that the team stayed whole. And that was really important because people are first for us. And so it's a family, Sunster.
Yeah, and so Cam, I had a morning coffee. So there's a monthly coffee session that I do for an hour. So anyone who joins in that month, they join this call, and it happened to be this morning. And my first question was, how would you describe culture? So people where they are with us from last 30 days. And the first person said, it's very welcoming. The second person said, it's very warm. Third was more like, it feels like, everyone is welcoming us like family. And that's where, so I started talking about the way we have kind of created our culture norms or guidelines, that it's a culture of community, to your point with family, because, when you describe a family, it's like, I didn't have a choice for my parents, or you didn't have a choice for your parents, or our kids didn't have a choice for their parents, right? So, but in our friends that we choose, that becomes like family. Team members that we choose, that becomes like family. It's a kind of a family in more like a community sense. And like, we are very intentional about being people centric and having that sense of community at work, where people feel that connection and belongingness. And when people ask me, Sunny, how would you describe that culture during this welcoming, just once a month, we do this call, and it's basically to talk about culture and their experience. And so I'm like, the way I describe it is culture of community, culture of collaborative way. And we did go over those 5 practices: that generous listening, and speaking straight, being there for each other, honoring commitments. It could be yes, you don't, or no. You don't have to say yes when you really can't do it. It's okay. You have the safe space. So honor commitment when you do say yes, though, and that appreciation and recognitions. So when we are good listeners at work or at home, this is more like a life practice, right? The mindset. When we listen properly, listen generously, we are able to honor commitments that we make, right? We are intentional about that. We appreciate each other, we recognize each other, and we are able to kind of be there for each other. So those are good human beings mindsets. And as you said, we're not perfect, but we have those mindsets clearly defined, and we are building habits and behaviors to align with those mindsets, with the mantra of progress, not perfection. And the culture of positivity, which is kind of core value that we have, that gratitude, that gain versus gap thinking, and really being positive, having the right attitude as a team member, and winning or learning. There's no losing team or team member. If you're not able to meet your target, in a week or month, that's okay. Just to reflect on learning from that experience and see, okay, how I'm going to transform that next month and achieve what I want to achieve. So culture of winning or learning, never on the losing side, and progress, not perfection. That there is always value in making those incremental changes, right? And so that's the culture. Due from this conversation, I just wanted to share that. Now, let's move on to our next question for you. Enough about me describing culture. What are your top 3 greatest lessons that you have learned? Life lessons, Cal.
So the one is, there's so much value in learning from others. When we first started, and when I first grew up, and I will definitely say that the individual that I was back in Vancouver is very different than the individual that I am today. And I always laugh. I say, well, New York, and being, MSP, walking into those buildings, learning how to, that toughened me up, and it taught me how to be more clear and decisive in what I'm trying to do, what I'm looking to get. Taught me how to negotiate. Those traders on that stock exchange, they were vicious and ruthless, and it taught you how to persevere, right? So there's so many learnings, and as we've gone, you're a sponge. You love to learn, and and I'm the one that'll take the meat and potatoes out of your conversations. Right? You go to that class, Sunster. I'm going to take the meat and potatoes out of your learnings. And it's so important that as we've grown, from John Maxwell to, the Collaborative Way to Larry Little, there's so many different people that have impacted what and who we are today. And it's still a constant progress, lifelong learning, Sunster, I remember. But it's definitely that you can learn so much from others is number one. Number two is the importance of understanding people's personalities. I think that when we did the Make a Difference seminar with Larry Little, that really impacted me because it taught me that what I think is important is not necessarily what you think is important. And if I understand your personality better, if I understand who you are as an individual, that'll help me tailor my conversation so that you are receiving it better. So it's really that there's a mutual responsibility on both people when you're having a conversation. And if I want an outcome to be positive, I have to make sure that I'm tailoring the conversation that I'm having with you so that you receive it well. And so that if you like the details, I need to put details in it. If you just want high level and you've only given me 15 minutes, I need to make it high level and put my ask in there. And so understanding, I'm emotional, talk to me, I'm that monkey that, that really likes to be personable with people. That's important to me. So then talk to me about that. We're monkeys, some of us need praise, lift us up. Lions just need the facts and get to it. Camels want the details. So when we learned all about those personalities, it helped me understand, well, who am I talking to so that I can better understand what they value? And how do I make myself a better leader by appreciating what's important to them? So that was really impactful. And, the Collaborative Way was also, so I kind of have like 4, Sunster. I know I'm only supposed to have 3, but I try to be an overachiever. But the Collaborative Way was really impactful for us last year as well, 2 years ago almost, I think, where it taught us how we better, and I think a lot of this, and you'll notice, it's all about communication for me, right? It all comes back down to communication. And so the Collaborative Way taught us how to value and communicate better with one another. And I think that was very important as well. How do you speak straight? How do you remove filters? How are you listening generously to someone? It's all about communication. And how am I being for you, right? That's really important. Sometimes you have to speak straight because you want to be for someone and you want them to have the clarity that they need, but you don't want it to be mean. And so you have to be very careful in how you convey that messaging. And so that's been a really important life lesson. And then I think my 4th one is from John Maxwell, where in his book, Everybody Communicates and Few Connect. And John says it all the time, even when we go to his events, and he talks about it, he goes, your opinion of me does not define me. And I think that was a really, for a woman in the channel especially, there's a lot it's not easy, if we're tough, where, she's tough, whereas it's not assertive. And so sometimes understanding how we come off on people was very important to me, but also making sure that I didn't allow people's definitions of me to define who I am anymore. I want to be my best person, and I want to make sure that I'm always leaving a great feeling to the other person, but I'm not allowing their opinion to impact my mental state. And that was the hardest thing, I think, is it's easy to be overwhelmed with all of these. And we talked about mental health this past month as well, Sunny, you did, right? And the importance that we put on it in the company. But it's really easy when you're inundated and when you have so many people and there's so much happening around you, everybody has an opinion, right? And so how do you filter that? And how do you, John always says, that's okay. I'm not your cup of tea. My name is John and I'm your friend. And so that reminds me that it's okay. I don't need to be your cup of tea. My name is Kam and I'm your friend. And so that's the fourth life lesson learning.
Yeah. And yeah, so no, thank you for sharing that, Kam. Great life lessons in terms of value in lifelong learning. There is just so much value in communicating by understanding of personalities, they're different people, their communication style is different, their needs are different. And if we can understand their personalities, them as human beings, and then communicate that way, what kind of lands well with those personalities, then that is impactful, collaborative way, like all the practices that you shared. And that is the value in connecting with people, not just communicating, that everyone communicates and a few connect, by John C. Maxwell. And also not letting other people's opinion impact you. We need to have freedom of our own identity, what we want to build, right? And I was kind of listening to Dan Sullivan the other day, and he was referring to this author who published this book in early 1950s. And he said there will be three different types of people. And he was a socialist. And he said there will be people where they have this traditional thinking. And they will, no matter if they move from one country to another, one community to another, they're going to just carry their tradition and they will never change. It's just traditional. No matter what's happening, it's just the other people don't impact them, whatever is happening. And this is when there was no social media, all the problems that our next generation is facing just because of Facebook likes and all what the other peoples are thinking about their posts. This guy was well advanced in his thinking. And he said the second people, so first is tradition. And the second one was people where they have that they're inner centric. So other people's opinion don't change them, or they're going to be who they are. But if they believe in something, then no matter if people stand with them in that thinking or they don't, and world is with them or not, they're going to be kind of protecting their values.
Yeah.
And third is outer centric, and that is where, like, what people say is going to be like, if they're depressed today just because 10 people didn't like what they want, their expectation was that those 10 people to like their post or have something, then those people. So what he was talking about is value in having your own opinions.
Yeah.
And value in knowing who you are and your value system, and then not letting other people impact that. So Kam, I want to continue going, but we'll stop here and find other opportunities to share this with our partners. Thank you so much for joining me today. And, you are my partner in crime in my personal life and professional life. I could not have done this without you. I always appreciate you, Kam, in my life. And thank you for coming and sharing your life experience with our next generation and people that we serve, our channel, our team members. And there are a lot of very valuable insights, very actionable as well, where it can make an impact. So thank you so much for coming and sharing.
Thanks for having me, Sunster. I look forward to version 2.
Me too. And thank you.
Thanks, everyone.